Much like eating your favorite food for every single meal, reading the same genre over and over and over again can kind of, I don't know, get a bit boring. So what do? You change it up and you reach for something a little different. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today, guys, we are talking about, well, some fantasy burnout and what I'm going to be reaching for the, I'm not going to say for the foreseeable future, but for the near future, while I kind of work through that burnout. But before we get into this list of authors and series, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. You can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including links to my Patreon/book club, which you can join for as little as $1 a month, and the Wizards Enclave Discord, where we've got a great bookish community. With that out of the way, guys, essentially, when I was a teenager, I used to read a lot of books that, how would I put it, that would make like great like 80s, 90s, or early 2000s like action adventures, but then the studios would get a hold of the script, keep the names the same, maybe like one or two scenes, and then change everything else. Those kind of movies. And then like everybody would be like, why is this movie so bad? And then like the book is so much better. Anyway, I used to read a lot of those kind of action adventure thrillers. I don't know if any of that made any sense, but I've been feeling the call of that kind of series as I've been reading a lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi, and I've also been called to, you know, more horror and stuff like that. And so I kind of want to drop, it's not quite a top 10 list, but some stuff that I'm really excited to dive back into and stuff that's been on my mind and things I want to try. We're going to, of course, start off this list with the king of the short story. I want to do more Ray Bradbury. This is speculative fiction short stories. They're quick, they're consumable, they're punchy, they're great idea sort of stories. Ray Bradbury has an enormous backlog that I still have yet to explore. And because they're so quick and easy and digestible, I think I can get through quite a bit of that with no issue whatsoever and just kind of sidestep the burnout a little bit. I also have recently been picking up a lot of classic Robert McCammon with just those kind of pulpy horror stories like, I think, Stinger, Ball. Oh god, I've got a whole bunch of them down there. You think I would have pulled them out. Mystery Walk. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm not going to try and list them all off, but I've been really wanting to try kind of like some pulpy horror, which I think could be really fun and kind of jar me back into a sense of normalcy. F. Paul Wilson, of course, is still really enjoyable for me. He just retired due to some health issues, and his last book is coming out, but I think he's got 70 to 80 books. He's got a breadth of work almost, if not larger, than Stephen King's. So there's a lot to explore there. There's some fantasy. There's a lot of thriller. There's a lot of just medical thriller. There's a lot of short stories. He's done quite a bit. He's been, I think, publishing since the 70s, and at like 1 or 2 books a year at that same pace as Stephen King. So yes. Also, Stephen King's is on this list, surprising nobody. He's got short story collections, he's got novellas, and he's got standalone novels that I don't read enough of. So yeah, that's on the list. Lee Child, and specifically Lee Child is on this list because I am a fan of Alan Richardson, who plays Reacher. And for me, like, Alan Richardson is like my ideal next Batman. Like, I would love if he would be the next Batman, like the live action Batman. I know he won't be, but I want it. And I've never watched an episode of Reacher, but at the same time, like, I doom scroll quite a bit, and I always get like 4 or 5 Reacher clips like mixed in there, and I'm always like, this looks so cool. So I actually already have a library loan for The Killing Floor, which is the first Reacher book. That's just something that sounds really engaging and really fun. I don't know if exactly it's going to be for me, but it's still something I want to try. I'm not going to like say, I'm going to read all of the Lee Child Reacher books, because there's like a billion of them. I don't know. I think there's like 27, or I don't actually know the number. Why am I guessing? I don't know! But it's a series I want to try. It's definitely something that he's like kind of like that fixer style of story, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm into that. And then, of course, there's Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. 3 different ways. I want Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child 3 ways because, okay, so they each write separately. Lincoln Child writes his own stories, and Douglas Preston writes his own stories. Lincoln Child's written a lot more, and I'm actually currently doing Deep Storm, which is part of a series, kind of. It like, I forget the name of the series, because the main character only appears, the main character of the series only appears in book 1 for like 2 pages. But like, it's that kind of concept of like, this would have made a great movie like 20 years ago that they would have absolutely ruined. Hollywood, that is. And I feel like I'm just having a really good time reading it, but also, like, I also want to check out Douglas Preston's stuff, but I really like the Pendergast books. Relic and Reliquary and Cabinet of Curiosities are still some of my favorite books of all time. And I've never done them on audio, and I feel like that would be kind of fun to revisit. But also, they've got, like, a side series of, like, the Nora Kelly series, who is a character who was kind of retired from the Pendergast novels fairly early, and I'm like, ooh, I could go and check those out, and those could be kind of new and refreshing. But also, like, they've just kind of given up on making Pendergast make sense, and they've kind of made it sci-fi-ish, and I kind of gave up on the series back before, like, I was just like, man, you should have really retired the series, like 5 books ago. And they've released like 8 books since then, and I've heard it's kind of gotten good again, and so I kind of want to come back and like revisit the early books, completely skip the middle books, and then like jump to where the series is currently at, or at least where I left off in the series, and be like, maybe this could be good again. They've just been really, really, really calling to me. And then, of course, like, I recently discovered Dean Koontz. I didn't discover Dean Koontz. I started reading Dean Koontz. And I've had some mixed experiences. I've tried a little bit of Odd Thomas, and I like the kind of tongue-in-cheek sort of aspect of that series. I've done... What's that? Phantoms. I read Phantoms, and I mostly enjoyed Phantoms. I've tried Watchers, and Watchers creeped me out really quickly. There's a stalker character in there who's kind of like doing a power dynamic thing. And it made me really uncomfortable. It got me like, it was like, like, oh no, absolutely not. It's this really creepy dude. And I'm just like, mission accomplished. I'm incredibly uncomfortable with this character. So it's really good writing. But at the same time, like, it gave me the willies. And I kind of I've got to be in the mood to experience that again. And then another author that I really want to get back to is Steve Berry. And Steve Berry did the Cotton Malone series, I believe is the name of that series. And it's about this like retired military operative or government agent who moves to, I think, Amsterdam and opens up like a rare bookshop. And then like keeps getting called back into service for like these one-time missions. Until, like, I mean, there's enough books where it's like, dude, you're not really retired at all. You're just, like, an as-need basis special agent. But I enjoy the character. He's got this son who he's, like, trying to be a better father to. And, I don't know, like, Cotton Malone is, like, a character that just speaks to me. And I've always really enjoyed. And I've enjoyed that kind of style of story as well. Like, just the retired agent. The Gabriel Leon books by, who was that author? Daniel Silva, I think, is that author. I used to really enjoy those, but they got very formulaic. He's this retired Mossad agent, and, like, he just wants to restore paintings, but he keeps getting called back into, like, active service, and I used to really enjoy those, like, 10 to 15 years ago. I don't know if I'd still enjoy them. Maybe, possibly, potentially. But it's not exactly something I'm planning on necessarily picking up. And then finally, the last 2 that, of course, I have to talk about is Clive Cussler. I really enjoyed the like nautical adventure stories way back in the day. I've read, I think, 25 to 30 Clive Cussler books throughout my life. Some of them I've read multiple times, like Sahara, and a lot of the early Dirk Pitt books I've read multiple times. And I want to re-experience those. I want to reach back and have that nostalgic experience. I'm not interested in reading anything that's been released after he passed. He passed many years ago, and then they just pulled a Tom Clancy where they are using his name and his characters and his ideas and just having other people read them. And I think he had like partially retired towards the end of his life. and was just doing, like, people were ghostwriting for him, and he was just kind of collecting that paycheck. I don't know. Like, his later stuff, I'm not so much interested in. Like, I tried reading The Chase, and I DNF'd The Chase. I had no interest in The Chase. And that was, like, a historical sort of thing. And it didn't really work for me. But, like, the Numa Files, and there's like a husband-wife duo that he had going on that I think he got, like, 5 books deep in, and I was really interested in. And I only read, like, the first 2. But I read, I think, like, the first 8 of the Numa Files. I read upwards of 20 of the Dirk Pitt novels, and then that kind of became like the Dirk Pitt Jr. books, which I wasn't really a huge fan of that. Like, the first couple times I was like, oh, this is really cool, like he's rediscovered these, like, lost children. But, like, after a while I was like, you're just kind of subbing like for like, and that wasn't really my thing. But again, potentially we'll see. And then, of course, there's Jonathan Mayberry. I've got the Joe Ledger series. I actually just did Joe Ledger 2. And overall, while I had a multitude of complaints, the whole time I was just like, this is doing it for me. So, like, Joe Ledger is, of course, put through the ringer throughout the series, but I'm still interested and intrigued on continuing the Joe Ledger series by Jonathan Mayberry. And, of course, he's also got, like, it's like Blue Moon something. It's small town horror and stuff like that I'm interested in trying. But, like, these are like the list of authors that I want to prioritize. Kind of going forward. I'll sprinkle in some fantasy, but I need to take a step back from fantasy and lit RPG and sci-fi and really kind of do what's speaking to me. And then, of course, I will naturally come back to fantasy in full bloom. I just go through these ups and downs and these periods. So, like, I'm still, of course, wanting to do Song of Chaos and stuff like that. Like, this isn't like, I'm done with fantasy, see you later, I'm no longer the wizard. No, I'm still the wizard. I'm just kind of in a more adventure thriller sort of mood. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know what to kind of expect from me here on the channel, what kind of books I'm going to be talking about, and just kind of give you a general update, as well as talking about some really awesome series. If you have series recommendations that kind of fit the vein of the authors and the series that I've talked about, please feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. I would love to get some recommendations and try some new stuff. But that's all I've really got for today, guys. I hope you are doing well. Till next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.